I spent a lot of time speaking to midwives that I knew, that I didn't necessarily know previously, but I'd made contact with. I did a lot of reading around the subject, and I spoke to people who were already students on the course. I would have liked to have done some work experience, really, and that option was made available to us, but because I was already working, I couldn't get the time out of work to go and do that. But that's something that I would recommend people do, because you can talk to people as much as you like, but until you go and have a look at the job itself and what it entails, I think it's hard to make a judgment, really.
There was a lot of reading to do, there still is a lot of reading to do. I've done a lot of research on the internet as well. As I said, I worked in support work, so I actually spoke to a lot of nurses who've actually been through, come out the other side, and they give me a lot of advice as well, a lot of what I've brought with me as well, because there's been a lot of worthwhile advice.
I didn't know a great deal about the course before I started, but what I did know was the placement and the university side of things, and I liked the idea of that, because I knew that I'd be looking forward to coming back to uni and doing placements, etc.
I didn't want to just start uni straight away. I thought if I do a little course firstly, that will sort of like give me an idea. I can understand what the course is going to be like and what to expect. And with that, I've done my MVQ, and like I got experience on the wards as well. So I was like giving bed baths, and and from that as well, that made me want to start uni.
I was a bit concerned about knowing where on earth I was going. It's strange city. Although I live fairly locally to Coventry, where I'm training, I didn't know Coventry at all. So in fact, I did go in and have a look around the town and find where the building was and try and work out where the buses went and where the trains went, where I may be able to park if I was able to drive in, all that kind of thing. So it was very practical from that point of view. I didn't do a lot, I have to confess, in terms of studying and preparing academically, because I took the line that, well, I'm here until I'm actually on the course. I don't really know what's required, what subjects, what order. So it was far more practical awareness of my surroundings and where to go and when to be there and what time to allow to get there. That were the sort of preparations I did.
I had done, bit of my own background reading. I tracked down the placement managers in the trust and spoke with both of them. They sat me down and said, well, it's not going to be easy, but you do seem enthusiastic and you have spoken to other members of the profession. And like I said, my manager was a nurse manager and he gave me lots of advice and support. And basically, I knew I had made the right decision. I knew that's the profession I wanted to be in.
I had discussed it with family, discussed it with my husband, the financial strains we had discussed the childcare, we had talked about the 7-week placements that I'd have to be away from home. I talked to my parents saying that, Mom, Dad, I am relying on you. Spoke to brothers and sisters saying that when there is a family activity, the children are involved, I'm not going to be there to take my little boy, will you support me? So a lot of networking within the family and seeking that guidance from them and support, and talking it through prior to committing myself.
The truth was I didn't really do too much of that, which probably came back to bite me later on. I did, however, talk to a fellow student who was at my college, who was going to go into the same course as me. So I talked to her and asked what she was thinking. Also, I talked to family members, and one of my relatives was actually a nurse in a previous life. So I asked her what it was like. However, times have changed since then, so I still didn't know what to expect.